I feel like I'm violating the human microphone. Is this okay? Let me say something first of all to the mainstream media who are here. I am not the spokesperson of this movement. Everybody here is a spokesperson. If you will stick around here or come back tomorrow or the next day, everybody here has a story to tell you about what life is like in America right now. Everybody, right? There is no leader of this movement. That's why it's such a huge and growing movement, because we're not doing it the old way anymore. Everybody is a leader. Everybody has to lead in their neighborhoods, at schools, in their churches. It's the only way we're going to win. We can't just leave it up to one person or 10 people. Everybody has to participate. It's the only way that democracy works. I am honored to be here in Denver today, and I am so proud of you who are participating in Occupy Denver. We have been watching this. We've been down at Occupy Wall Street now for over 6 weeks, and we have followed what you've been through here, and you have not relented. You're still here. You're still here. So please know that the rest of the country sees this. You are not alone. You are not alone.
The rest of the world sees it, brother. American Indian movement.
Hello, people. I had my rear too. There's a man over here who wants to have my baby. It's a Colorado kind of ball. I want you to know that not only are you not alone, the people across this country who now support this movement, you've seen the polls, right? That's the National Journal poll. 59% of the American public supports the goals and the aims of the Occupy Wall Street movement. You know, I mean, this movement is only 6 weeks old. Those of you who are my age and older, if you remember the other movement, when the Civil Rights Movement was 6 weeks old, it didn't have 59% of the American people behind it. When the women's movement began, it did not have 59% of the American people behind it. When the gay rights movement began, it did not have 59% of the American people behind it. You already have 59% of the American people. So, it's ours to mess up, isn't it? Right? Because, you know, the hard part in any movement is trying to convince people to come along with you. The people are already with us. How did that happen? How did this get organized so fast? Well, it's because no, we had some very skillful and effective organizers. I would like to give you their names. Goldman Sachs! Yeah! Citibank! Yeah! Bank of America! are willing to tolerate just plain old breeding. We didn't like it, but we didn't do anything about it. And I guess that sent the wrong message to them. I guess it told them that, well, they're not doing anything about this breed. Let's do some more breed. And they kept taking and taking and taking. And they kept trying to figure out new ways to make life miserable for people who just wanted a roof over their heads. For people who just wanted to see a doctor when they got sick. For students who just wanted to go to school without having a debt on their back at 22 years old. And they kept thinking, this is how we do it. We screw people out of their homes. We don't let them go see a doctor. Or if they have insurance, let's make sure we don't pay the bill. Let's make these students servants at 22 years old. Slaves to the debt that we've put on their back. It's wage slaves, that's right. That, you know, historians, I believe, that's what they're going to call us. They're going to call us all wage slaves because we had to do this in order to get by just for the basic essentials of survival. We had to go along and tolerate this injustice. And you know, they just kept their boot on the necks of the American people. The fight didn't go on. You have to believe that the bankers and the Wall Street hedge fund guys are thinking tonight, shit! We overplayed our hand. We should have just been happy with 5 mansions and 3 yachts and 6 summer homes. Why couldn't I have just been happy with 6 summer homes? Now they're occupying the entire damn country. I want to tell you something. Hang on. I want to say this. The guys who are with me here are dressed kind of nice. If you've read my book, these are ex-Special Forces guys who are... So, they, yes, these are veterans who are here to keep me safe for all the obvious reasons.
God bless you! Thank you!
Hey, well, let me just say what I wanted to say here. That I know a lot of us keep saying that we're not going to win because they've got the money. They buy the politicians. All right, just hang on, sir. Hang on. Everybody hang on. They buy the politicians, and this is true. They buy the Republicans, they buy the Democrats. They buy the Democrats a little cheaper. But they're all at the same trough.
Right, yeah.
And the trough has to be taken away from them.
Right.
If that doesn't happen, then we're not going to be able to fix this.
Yep.
Corporations are not people. And if somebody said that until Texas executes a corporation, I will not say that they are people. Whoever said that, I thought that was funny. But here's my point that I want to make. Even though they've got the money, you know, Martin Luther King knew that the sheriffs had more dogs, had more hoses, had more guns. Didn't matter. It didn't matter. The women who started the early feminist movement in the 1800s, who thought women should have the right to vote. Imagine what they were up against. They wanted an amendment passed to the Constitution, and not a single woman would get to vote on that amendment. That must have seemed like a huge mountain. How are we ever going to get over that mountain? Because only men can vote. And yet they did it. Nobody sat around saying, well, no, we have no votes. We have no votes. How are we going to get the right to vote? We have no votes. How are we going to have civil rights? They've got the guns. How are we going to have civil rights? Don't fall into the trap of saying, they've got the money, they buy these elections. Yes, of course, but they don't have one thing. And that's the Constitution of the United States. Still says, one person, one vote. That's it. When you close that curtain at the voting booth, their hand is not on your hand. And the richest 400 Americans who own more than 150 million Americans combined, they must, I'm sure they feel really good that they can buy any politician. But when it comes to election time, they only have one vote per person. There are only 400 votes. We are 150 million. We're 200 million. We need to take heart that we have the power. The power is now in our hands. But it's not just about elections. It's not just about voting. You know, I was on CNN the other night, and he was asking, well, what candidates are you guys going to get behind?
Hey, Michael.
What Senate bill are you going to get behind? And I said, Anderson. That's the guy with two last names. I said, Anderson, this vote, you're trying to think the old way. Everybody here has worked for candidates, has voted, has gotten behind bills, has written to their members of Congress. And what did that get us? What? Now, that doesn't mean that we're not going to vote. Doesn't mean that we're not going to get behind bills. But you're missing the point of this movement. This is not about politicians. This is about the people. This is about the people saying, you, the politicians, serve us. You are there, the will of the people. You will no longer serve the 400. If you do, you will be removed. So you're right. Do not let this movement be co-opted by politicians, political parties, anybody with an agenda, whatever. Everybody is an equal in this movement. Everybody is a participant in this movement.
Michael, vote for president. Michael, vote for president.
Is it okay to say that I've been making Occupy movies for 20 years? Who's one of tens of millions of citizens who are part of this movement. I'm honored that you invited me to speak here today. In New York, I just stand in the General Assembly along with everyone else. I wait my turn, and I use the human microphone. So I'm a little uncomfortable with this device. But I'm grateful that you gave me this time to say a few words and to hopefully give you some hope that you're on the right track. You've got the American people behind you. The people who think this is going to fail, they think the winter is going to kill it. That's not going to happen. And when they say, well, where's this going? D.C. or Congress, the answer is those people in that building are the employees of Wall Street. Why would we waste our time with the middleman? We are taking this to the source. We are taking this to corporate America. We are taking this to corporate Colorado. That is what this movement is about. We are not going to talk about the symptoms anymore. We are not going to put band-aids on the problem. We are going to the core of the problem, and we are going to fix it permanently for our children and our grandchildren. And man is holding a sign back there that says economic democracy, not corporate capitalism. That is exactly right. We cannot call this a democracy if we do not have direct say over how this economy runs and functions. We have a democratic economy. So, I just... That's very good, but you know what? This movement, let me tell you, okay, they're telling me that I gotta leave. Let me just say this. You've already had... Hang on, let me just finish. Sorry.
He's with us.
I'm not saying this about this woman, but I was in Oakland for a couple of days here this past weekend.
God bless
Please be mindful of people who try to create divisions, people who try to put wedges, provocateurs who try to start violence, because there's a long history, young people, that you may not know, of how police and undercover police and now undercover Homeland Security people are most of these occupations.
Yes.
No, they want. Well, they want to ignite something to give them the reason to act violently against you. If you see anybody who says they're a member of this group trying to behave in a violent manner, you must surround that person with love and stop them. Protect yourself, because those in power are scared shitless. And they should be, and they will find a way to try and make this something other than it isn't. Don't let that happen. Let this thing grow and build. Welcome people here. People who can't camp here, have them come to the Saturday rallies. This Saturday, people who've got their checking accounts at Chase or Citibank or Bank of America, we're moving them into credit unions. We're taking them money out. There's 100 different things people can do other than just camping. So please encourage people to do whatever they do. And now they're telling me I have to go. So I